Okay, pop culture friends and people who like to listen to two opinionated Gen X women from the Midwest to the South talk about popular culture and all of the things that go with it. Once again, you are indeed listening to the Top 5 Podcast, and I am your host, Chris McPeak, and with me today, my favorite co-host, my sister, my bestest friend, Annie Pruitt's here. Hello, Annie Pruitt.
Hello, Chris McPeak.
And how are you on this fine recording day?
I'm doing really well. I'm having a very productive day. So
Good.
after the podcast, I'm going to go be productive some more.
I think I'm headed to the PCC flea market because this is the last market of the current cycle, and I have a few students I need to go see. One of them, his name's Andy, got into Virginia Military Institute, and so he leaves in a week or so to so I'm gonna go see him, and then who knows what else I'll do. I'll figure it out. I'll make it up as I go along.
My coworker is a VMI grad.
What's that?
My coworker went to VMI.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. Yes. Well, I'm very proud of Andy. He applied to VMI, the Citadel, and one other place, and he got into all three of them. So that was pretty exciting. I'm very proud of him. But we are not talking about college today. We talk about college on the show a lot, and we even talk about military stuff on the show sometimes. But today we are continuing with the Magnificent Country Music series. And what's our topic now, Annie?
So today we're going to do our top 5 favorite country music male-female duets.
Male-female duets. So, and this can span any period of time. It can be super, super contemporary, or it can be super, super old. I kind of mostly cover contemporary, but I do have a classic on my list. And yeah, this was an easy list to do. We had discussed doing female-female duets and then male-male duets. And we're probably going to try the male-male duets, but not the female-female duets. Yeah. And so if you have other country music concept lists that we should take on, because, you know, it's not really a series if it doesn't have at least 4 episodes, and we're at 3. But that's just my opinion. What do you think, Annie?
I think we can come up with a couple more country music topics.
I think we can too. Maybe saddest country music songs ever.
That would be the episode that, or an episode that you cry to.
Yes. Yeah, a tearjerker and a half. Yeah. Well, we'll have to rethink that maybe. Yeah. I'm thinking, because I can think of a whole bunch right now that I almost never listen to anymore because they crush my soul. Kind of like our tearjerker movie lists that, you know, I have to pull over. I'm going to listen to that song because I know I'm going to start crying. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about country music, male-female duets, and I'm going to go first. How's that?
Yes, love it.
Okay, I'm starting off. My number 5 is Party for Two by Shania Twain and Billy Currington. This is kind of a corny song, but I love the video, and I love kind of her flirting with him and him kind of being like, no, I don't want to go. And now we're having a good old time. And by the end of the song, they want to have a party again. So it's cute. It's flirty. It's upbeat. It's silly. And it just makes me happy and makes me smile. So that's about all I got to say about that one. It's cute. It's fun.
It's very cute. That's a great song. Yeah, I toyed with putting that one on my list, so I'm glad I didn't, so that we have variety. My number 5, I hated as a child because it was kind of one of the first like country music breakouts that made the pop charts, and that would be Islands in the Stream, Dolly and Kenny. So Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. Now, I grew to love it in the last 20 years because I love Dolly Parton, everything about that woman. So when I go back and listen to it now, I feel joy. But they back then, radio stations just killed music because they overplayed it so badly. But so my number 5, Islands in the Stream, it's a fun song. It's just sweet. And Dolly Parton's voice, she has the voice of an angel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I like it now. It just brings me joy, and it gives me a little bit of nostalgia of, sitting around the radio waiting for the next song to come on, and just, that's how our life was back then.
Yeah.
Nothing was planned. So, yep, there you go. That's my
Yeah.
number 5.
Well, if you will recall, Sunday mornings I used to spend glued to American Top 40. And of course, I wrote all the top 20 down every week. And I recall Islands in the Stream being it was in the top 10 for a good chunk of
Forever.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way that you do. It was one of those songs where you got really tired of it after a while, but now you can look back on it and say, yeah, that is a classic duet by two classic country people that just kind of can, live in, I don't know, perpetuity of being awesomeness, I suppose. Good one, Annie. I think, yeah, okay, never mind. I'll bring that up later. My number 4 is probably not a song that people are as familiar with, because I don't think this was ever released as a single, but it's on Jody Messina's Burn album, and it's a song that I think Tim McGraw originally recorded or was planning to record himself. I believe he wrote it, but it's called Bring on the Rain. And it's another one of those duets where it's kind of mostly Jody and Tim in the background, but I do really like the song, and I like the story behind it, that he kind of had, given it to her to put on her album, and then did part of it with her. And it's like, okay, I am having, I have a tough time in life. Things have been crazy, but tomorrow's another day and I need the water. So bring on the rain. Like, I don't care. Just give me your best shot, bring it on, because I'm going to make it through whatever I want to make it through. And that's just the end of the story. So that is my number 4.
Okay. I like that. I have not heard that song, so I'm going to have to listen to it now. I like that there's stuff that now I'm putting more playlists together, because there's songs that you bring up.
I know. I think that's been my favorite thing of the music shows now, is that we can make playlists and get familiar with and I love that we're sharing that with each other and the world, of course, all of you beautiful listeners out there.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one is another non-traditional kind of duet. So it was released not as a duet, Bon Jovi and Jennifer Nettles, Who Says You Can't Go Home. So it was first released by Bon Jovi.
Yep.
They turned it into another version of it as a duet with Jennifer Nettles. And now I can't listen to it unless it's the Jennifer Nettles version. So if you haven't heard the song, it's basically saying, who says you can't go home? There's only one place, they call me one of their own. And it's very, very sweet. And again, it's a song that reminds me of my husband, because he has a hometown that he goes home to. That's not necessarily our story, but it's them singing together. That's where like that crossover of country and rock artists, where it just makes sense, and it worked. It just worked really nicely. Jennifer Nettles, she could sing with anybody, as far as I'm concerned, and make it work, because she's kind of yeah, I kind of love her. But it's a great song, and it's a great country song. It's a great duet, so that's why it's my number 4.
I love that, and we're going to have overlap again on this episode, but that's not the song that is next on my list. So I'm going to share my number 3, which is Jackson by Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. And I did not know this song at all until I saw Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. Of course, Oscar win for her, Oscar nomination for him, but I know they did all their own singing. And then you go back and listen to the song when June and Johnny did it together, and it's fun. It's really, really Southern. The first lyric is a little weird. It's going to take me a bit to look it up. But so the previous song that you talked about, Who Says You Can't Go Home, and then Jackson, have a Chicago Bobby Loves karaoke tie for me, because my buddy Tim and I have performed Who Says You Can't Go Home at several karaoke shows over the years. It's one of my favorite songs to sing with him. It's sort of a signature song for us. But then the owner of Bobby Love, always was looking for a female to sing Jackson with him. And so I got pulled into doing that. So I'm not very good at it, but I do it because Bobby Love likes to hear it. So yeah, that's my number 3 is Jackson. And I love their story. They're like country royalty. And if I remember correctly, I want to say did June Carter Cash pass away first and then Johnny Cash did? But it was like within
Yes.
a month of each other or something crazy. Like they were
Yeah.
just so meant to
Yeah.
be together, and the thought of not being together. But they both lived a really full life, and again, country royalty all the way. So I had to incorporate that into my top five.
I may or may not be talking about that song.
You may or may not be. Okay.
It's
Well,
not,
okay.
we'll carry on. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. It's just so funny how much we have in common. My number three is, so back in the day, you and I, our family would get these videotapes from our family, and one of them was the Barbara Mandrell special, and she sang this particular song on the special, but not the version that I'm going to talk about, and that was "I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool." The
Yep.
version is the one with that she sings with George Jones. So, if you don't know the song, "I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool," she's talking about growing up where, and that one of my favorite lines, "When nobody was looking, I was slipping peanuts in my Coke." But the version, and I think that's the one that they actually play on the radio, and the one that was released, because it's at one point George Jones joins her in the song. And if you're a fan of country music, then you have to love George Jones. And when he comes in and says, "Oh, it's country," he just like, and it just like you hear it was recorded live, because yeah, it was, because the crowd just goes nuts. But I love Barbara Mandrell.
Yep.
That whatever, I can't remember the name of the special, but she was so fun and just talent, like the talent, ridiculous. The woman can play any instrument. She dances like nobody's business. She was just like, I had never seen anything like that before. So I love her. And that's my number three. Because there were times when, when we lived in Waldron, we weren't cool. Everybody else was country and we weren't cool.
Yep.
We weren't country. So we kind of grew up the opposite. But yeah, there you go. That's my number three.
I love it. You know what? Now, okay, so there were a couple shows that, oh God, why am I rubbing my eye? A couple shows, and I don't remember if Grandma E had sent this one to us as well, but we played that VCR tape to death and everything about it. I'd forgotten about all the instruments that she can play. And there was a scene where I want to say it's like a double-handed
Yep.
guitar,
Yep.
and they flip back and forth with it, but I think she plays the banjo, she plays the harpsichord, costume changes. And I remember the whole thing is that I wanted y'all to see this dress. I
Yeah.
love it. And usually this things in my size have little feet on it, and I don't like
Yeah.
that. But I also loved that cute bluegrass family trio that opened for her, because they did this lovely version of Rocky Top.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not from Tennessee, but that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a fun song.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, now I'm going to be on a mission to find anything from that recording. I don't remember if that was like a Showtime or HBO special, maybe.
You can find clips of it on YouTube.
All right. I'm a looking. Well, I was going to say that my number two song was Who Says You Can't Go Home, but I'm going to add some other 80s duet action here in the vein of you talking about Islands in the Stream. Country crossover to pop, but I'm going to talk about We've Got Tonight with Sheena Easton, and was it Kenny Rogers or Bob Seger?
Yeah.
Now I don't remember, but I loved.
Oh, wait. Seger. That's Bob Seger.
Yeah, now I'm confused. I gotta look. Hang on a second, because I don't want to get it wrong.
That is definitely
Bob Seger and oh wait, no.
Oh, but Kenny and Sheena sang it.
It's yeah.
I'll
Bob
be damned.
Seger originally recorded it, and then Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton turned it into a duet. But what I love about that song is coming off the first chorus, and Sheena just belts in there with the deep in my soul.
Yeah.
I've been so lonely. Yeah. And she's this, sprite, spunky little Scottish lass. And this came out right before she kind of kicked into her, like, Prince is writing songs for me now, so I'm going to be a big old sex pot. But this was still when she was kind of innocent and kept all her clothes on.
Yeah.
before the sugar walls came in. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with that as my number two.
Oh, okay. So I gotta look that one up and add it to my play because I kept looking for Bob Seger and Sheena Easton. Every time I pull up with the Bob Seger, I'm like, why is Sheena Easton not singing?
So hilarious. Yeah.
Uh,
And that
I-
was another one that, was in the top 10 on Billboard's charts like for quite some time.
yeah, yeah. Okay. We are at my number two.
Yeah.
Is you got to have Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn somewhere,
Oh,
right? So here we go. Don't Tell Me You're Sorry. Again, another song I'd never heard before I met my hubby. And it's very, very cute. But so the song is, Conway, he gets caught, having a girl on his lap and flirting with somebody else. And he's got a cheating face. And Loretta Lynn's like, don't tell me you're sorry because I know how sour you are.
oh
Um,
wow.
Loretta Lynn's voice again, like Dolly, it's just so sweet, and I really kind of love her. But it's another one that like Keith and I will be driving down the road and we'll sing it to each other, and it's funny because that would never happen in like the situation in the song never happened, but it's so cute.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I can't tell you much more about it other than Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty are again like kind of country royalty, and they did so many good songs together. They did an entire album together, which is hanging on the wall in the wall of honor with vinyl.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite on that album. Don't Tell Me You're Sorry.
Ah, excellent. Okay, so that puts me at an honorable mention, right?
Yes.
Okay, my honorable mention, to be completely honest, I just discovered today because I was looking around for sort of some country pop crossover stuff that, was a little bit out of the ordinary. And I stumbled upon actually what I was really looking for was a video of when on YouTube I had seen Sheryl Crow and John Mayer at the Starwood Amphitheater, which was an outdoor, grass lawn seats stadium in Nashville. And we went to see Sheryl Crow and John Mayer. And anytime anything in Nashville, you'd go to any concert with any performer, and some local person would just show up and come on stage and sing something. And when Sheryl Crow was doing her set, here comes good old Keith Urban, who I just love anyway. And they sang Stop Dragging My Heart Around, which was amazing. And of course, you can't find it on Apple Music, but I remember thinking, like, I loved the two of them singing that so much. And so, in my quest to find it, so I could at least talk about it, I found this instead. So, I found a song called One Too Many by Keith Urban and Pink. And the idea of those two collaborating together would have never occurred to me, but I love it. And it's a super, super fun song. It's a married couple. It's Friday night, he's out with his new friends, but he's also drinking alone and he stays up too late. And I'm sorry, mama, I just had one too many. And that's just gonna be the way that it is. But I listened to it like 3 times while I was getting ready to come on this call. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to include it because it's newer. It's something I wasn't expecting. And I really kind of like it. So One Too Many, Keith Urban and Pink.
Okay. I've never heard that one, so I'll add it to the list. I'll listen to this playlist. My honorable mentions, funny that you mentioned Sheryl Crow. So this is the non-traditional country song, but they played it on country radio a whole lot. And when you look at country duets, it comes up.
Yep.
And that would Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow, Picture. I've loved that song. Kid Rock, when you think of him, you don't think of him being much of a singer, but he actually he carries this tune quite nicely. And it's a sad song. My dog is really pissing me off.
Oh, Lovey, sweetie girl.
So, but it's a very sweet song. I found your picture today, and I'm not gonna sing the song, but it's my own because it's sad and it's touching and it's got a really nice. They sing it so nicely together, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. That's my
Oh,
own.
Annie. I love my
I'm
sister so much.
a fussy dog here.
So my number one is Picture from Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
And
And
talk about it.
again, because I think mostly because of karaoke. And it was a song that I sang with Roger more often than anybody else, our cousin's husband. And like you, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed Kid Rock as a singer. And I don't know if this was between the time when, he kind of had his comeuppance as this kind of white guy, white trash rapper trying to stem off the Eminem popularity thing. But then, what he really wanted to record was all this Southern fried rock stuff. And then that album came out that had, I forget the name of the song, but he had that huge hit with the Leonard Skinner sampling in it. But that was always the music that he wanted to make. And this duet I really like because I agree with you 100%. Their voices go really well together. It's a sweet song, but a sad song. And it's a hell of a lot fun to perform if you've got the right person singing with you. And that is a song that Roger and I did pretty well. So that is my number one, Picture.
I love it. So we have two overlaps then, because my number one is Jackson.
Oh, shut up.
Carter.
That's so great.
I loved the song before I saw the movie, and it is one of the songs that's on our playlist, on Keith and my playlist for when we're on a road trip together.
Nice.
He sings the Johnny, and I sing the June, and it's just so cute. We like there were times when we're like, what in the world is the what is a J-Pan fan? So you like having to look things up from this song, but anyway, it's for all the same reasons that you said you loved the song when the movie came out, and then their royalty by every definition of country music royalty, and of how how he pulled his shit together. And it's a great song. And I like if Keith and I ever got forced, if somebody had made us do karaoke, we would probably sing that.
I would love to see that. I would seriously pay good money to see that happen.
Well, if you just saw us dance to it. So
well, I do like to watch y'all dance. That is pretty special.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a little bit of an overlap show today. Let me count down my top 5 country male female duets. So my honorable mention is One Too Many by Keith Urban and Pink. And then from 5 to 1, I have Party for Two with Shania and Billy Currington. Bring on the Rain, Jody Messina and Tim McGraw. Jackson, Johnny and June. We've got tonight Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton, but homage to, the lovely Bob Seger who wrote that. And then my number one is Picture from Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
Love it. All right. My honorable mention is also Picture. And then I have 5 to 1, Kenny and Dolly with Islands in the Stream. Who Says You Can't Go Home? Bon Jovi, Jennifer Nettles. I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool. Barbara Mandrell and George Jones. Don't Tell Me You're Sorry, Conway and Loretta. And number 1, Jackson with Johnny and June.
Excellent. So maybe what I'll do is I'll find this Walk the Line soundtrack and throw Joaquin and Reese's version in there on the playlist as well, just for fun, since we have some overlap this week.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap up this show for today. As always, I want to thank Annie for showing up and recording with me on Sunday or Saturday or whenever we get a chance to record. I do enjoy our episodes that we do together. And I also, enjoy the episodes that we do with Doug and Heather. And I think once summer's over and things pan out a little bit, kind of smooth out things, we'll get back to some more Instagram lives and additional co-hosts. But right now you're stuck with me and Annie, and I hope that's okay because it's going to have to be. So for Annie, I'm Chris, and thank you again for downloading this week's episode. And as usual, we will catch you on the flip side.
See ya.